The disheveled man on the sidewalk, the woman asleep on the park bench. These are the traditional outposts of homelessness, images we've become accustomed to seeing.
We've become tolerant of homelessness, but we've become intolerant of homeless people. And that's something that has to change for us to make a real impact.
How do we change that?
I think by what you're doing right now.
Unfortunately, these images are also convenient distractors to the crisis that is poised to overwhelm yet another generation.
This is where the real story lies.
Dr. Ralph DaCosta Nunez has been working on homeless issues in New York City for more than 30 years. He and his staff at the Institute for Children, Poverty, and Homelessness spend their days and nights data mining city stats. It is difficult work, and what they uncovered is astonishing.
And that is the untold story. These children fall behind in their education, they fall behind in school, and it becomes a story that you're going to hear for the rest of your life because they become the adults and the grown-ups and the families that are back in the shelter for another generation.
We, the taxpayers, are footing the bill in ways and places that were not a concern just a few years ago. DaCosta Nunez's team found that during a 3-year period between 2010 and 2013, various schools across the city experienced massive surges in the number of homeless students, from a 352% increase in the Crotona Park section of the Bronx, a 563% jump at a school in Manhattan, and a 775% increase in homeless students at PS 143, the Louis Armstrong School in Jackson Heights, Queens. What happens to those homeless students? They miss class, with a 16% higher rate of absenteeism compared to housed students.
The city leaves it up to you to get her to school every day?
Yes, sir.
How many days a week do you say Alani misses school because of the commute?
She misses school about like 2 or 3 times a week.
Stephanie Moore and her husband Jay have struggled to get their daughter Alani to class at PS 188 on Manhattan's Lower East Side, all while shuffling between shelters in Brooklyn and Staten Island and the city's administrative intake center in the South Bronx.
What are your thoughts on what this is doing, what homelessness, what your situation is doing to your kids?
It's erupting them. It's erupting them. It's erupting her because she has special education and she needs it.
Across the Hudson River in Hackensack, New Jersey, the Bergen County Housing, Health, and Human Services Center caters to a drastically smaller homeless population and just 1 county instead of 5 boroughs. But the model here works, according to Executive Director Julia Orlando, who first helps her clients secure temporary housing before guiding them to a more permanent home.
I think one of the key issues for us in designing the center was to make sure that services were accessible, to recognize that for someone that's struggling with homelessness and hunger and poverty, to have to be going to 5 different places to get the services they need not only was cumbersome and exhausting, but oftentimes the person would give up or fail.
And they've helped me out with money for camping and things.
Christine Tuttle is not giving up. She's a former circuit board engineer whose career was outsourced. Christine says being homeless often comes down to survival and appearance.
It's an all-day effort to figure out how to stay out of trouble and stay safe and not look homeless.
There have been times where disguising her homelessness has pushed her to the brink.
I was dressed in, the Versace top and the long black skirt with my hair up, makeup, jewelry for an appointment, trying to look my best. And I thought about holding a sign up saying, "This is what homeless looks like."
Sean Lance is miles away in Harlem, but the 26-year-old can relate.
I'm no different than the man pushing the shopping cart, no matter how I look. But most people, when they see me, they don't assume that I'm homeless.
This misplaced perception applies to adults as well as to children.
You see homeless children every day at school, and no one knows they're homeless.
Jennifer Erb Downward is a lead analyst at the Institute for Children, Homelessness, and Poverty. She spearheaded the Atlas of Student Homelessness in New York City, released this past August, an alarming 124-page report detailing the challenges of homelessness and its impact.
I think we're just starting to scratch the surface.
Scary for you?
I think it's something that's very scary.
Assemblyman Keith Wright describes the crisis in 6 words.
It's almost like a perfect storm.
Wright is the chair of the Committee on Housing in Albany. He has seen firsthand how homelessness is paralyzing New Yorkers from Rochester to the Rockaways, and is concerned over the number of new faces, hardworking people lost in this storm.
On any streets in any part of New York State, you can see the full effect of homelessness. A lot of these folks, a lot of these families, they have to take care of their kids, make sure their kids go to school. They have to make sure that they get to work themselves. A lot of these folks have jobs, but they just don't have an affordable place to live.